tie of diagonal blue lines. A cheering, clapping crowd of 3,000 mainly white middle-class party members turned as one, their eyes following their leader's passage to the podium. The only hint of discord was standing in an aisle halfway back, an unsmiling, predominantly male group, their collars tieless, their patting of hands no more than obligatory. Alongside Sandford, her elegant legs matching stride, one hand holding his, the other a smartphone, came his wife, Carol, her carefully highlighted fair hair falling on her shoulders. In their wake, 2 daughters. He released her, jumped ahead onto the platform, beckoned his family to join him, and waved his hands over the baying mob. It hushed. "Thank you," he said quietly. The whooping restarted. He waved his hands again. "Thank you so much." He flashed a giant grin and lowered his hands. He paused. Faces merged into a featureless heap, sounds into a distant echo. Maintaining his smile but feeling a touch of giddiness, he imagined the sight before him as a giant ant-hill. He felt his hand being gently squeezed. He turned. Carol was looking up at him, that familiar encouragement in her eyes. He nodded as if to say, "I'm okay," and gestured her and the girls to take their seats on the podium behind. He tapped the microphone, looked down at the lectern, and waited for silence to fall. "Friends and colleagues, we have faced a world and national crisis, a challenge to our country greater than any since the 2 world wars of the 20th century. Now we're moving on. We're getting things done. The right things for ourselves and our country, as we said we would when the people of this United Kingdom gave this party, you, all those who worked with us, a landslide victory in a historic general election." A further roar. He repressed it with a firm, instant show of the palms. He spoke softly, only the flat A's and phonetic O's betraying hints of class and origin. A state school boy who had traded up, not a public school boy who had traded down. "Despite all that has happened, we must not forget why we won that election. We offered a coming together in a nation which, despite its name, had become disunited. We offered a clear path after Brexit, a better life for all our people, and an end to the destruction threatened by a Marxist subset of self-serving London intellectuals. Let us never forget that." This time he allowed the applause, turning round to acknowledge the ministers and party officials sitting on the podium behind him. "But as we pick up the reins of our long-term ambitions, there is one value we never dared to stress enough. We must be a government that is not just practically good, but morally good. At this conference I commit myself to that, and I start with one particular ambition." The ears of Henry Morland Cross, Deputy Prime Minister and Chancellor of the Exchequer, pricked. Until this moment, he had been trying to interpret that intimate exchange of looks between Mr. and Mrs. Prime Minister. Sandford had long been a colleague, but never a friend, and he sometimes wondered if all that glittered was truly gold. Was it put on for the cameras, or genuine affection and reassurance? If the latter, lucky man. Might he himself now be Prime Minister if he'd had a woman like that in his corner? The 2 daughters, adopted as Becca and Bella by the press, were in their teens. She was young enough just to have another child. Always a coup for a male Prime Minister. Youthful adoration of the golden boy leader would reach fever pitch. He pushed the irritating thought aside. Was Sandford actually about to say something interesting? "The defence of our country," continued the Prime Minister, "is and has always been this party's priority. We need armed forces. We need arms. We need an arms industry. But," he looked from one side of his audience to the other, "there is nothing in today's world more wicked than the arming of evil states to impose terror on their neighbours and on their own people. We've all seen too many images of innocent children and families being murdered by their own."